Okay, so we're doing this kind of off the cuff. So I'm studying data analytics, right? Studying data analytics, trying to get a certificate, right? And I'm trying to figure out ways that I can type up a lesson plan for myself, which adds in repetition. You know, sometimes you're studying stuff and it doesn't give you enough repetition or enough examples. So I'm adding repetition and examples to pre-written course material. All right, let's get rid of this as best I can. And here it says, by the time you complete this module, you'll have a stronger understanding of how the 6 phases of the data analysis process can break down some tasks and tackle some big questions, right? So we got 6 phases of data analysis. So this comes from a study module, a lesson, right? So I copied and pasted and I said, hey, please turn the following lesson page into a text-only lesson, right? I want to make sure there's no numbers, charts, or graphs, and we'll get to that in a second. All right, and here we go. Now, it didn't understand what I wanted with text only. I didn't want the 1 dot. I'm going to go ahead and tell you why right now. If I take something that I've created and I put it in Microsoft Word, right? I put it in Microsoft Word. I can save it as a web page. Why would I do that, you ask? Why would I save study material as a web page? That is a very good question. If I save it as a web page, I can open it. Let me see if I can find something to open. Let's see, documents, right? Now, I've saved a Word document with some lessons, with some knowledge as a web page, and it's saved it as HTML, right? I can open that. Let's see. Can't I? There we go. No? Open with, let's open it with Microsoft Edge. Why Microsoft Edge? Well, shoot. If I open it with Microsoft Edge, I get read aloud. Cool? And read aloud will read this aloud. So I can play this, I can send it through my Bluetooth headphones, I can record it reading aloud, run that through a USB cable into my phone, and while I'm going for my afternoon walk, I can play it and I get to study it again. We've heard of repetition, yeah? Let's do read aloud. I don't know if it's going to work, but...
In this lesson, you learned about the 6 phases of the data analysis process: ask, prepare, process, analyze, share, and act. These phases will break down big questions into smaller.
Okay, so that's why I want to get rid of this, because if I leave my numbers in there, my bullet points, it's going to go 1 dot ask, 2 dot prepare, 3 dot. You know, about 5 seconds of that is 5 seconds too much. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear all the dots while I'm walking around listening, right? Get rid of them. Let's see how I got rid of them. Please repeat the last response. Remember, the goal is to study the 6 phases of data analysis and maybe create some case studies, word it a different way, record it as, put it into a web page, right, without the 1 dots, right? Save it as HTML, open it with Edge Reader, record, recompile the kernel, and clear my cache. Little nerd joke. All right, so we get rid of these things. That's for when I do it on Microsoft Edge for the reader. Okay, so we got rid of that. Now, unfortunately, Edge doesn't know how to pause. So once in a while, humans pause so you can collect your thoughts, catch up, digest, right? Now, bonus points for you. If you type in an ellipsis in the Word document that you saved to HTML, if you do dot, 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 remember this is too small for you to see. You can't see it. So I'm going to tell you it's 3 dots, it's an ellipsis. Every time you put that in there, it adds up. Pause, right? So I say, hey, let's add some ellipses to have Edge Reader. I don't know if it understands what Edge Reader is, but it adds some ellipses, right? So now when it does it, it'll go over the 6 steps, it'll pause, and then say these phases were applied in a case study. Then I'm thinking, if I just play this, this is going to be over in 17 seconds. It didn't ask me any questions. It didn't repeat any information. You know, what am I going to do? How am I going to memorize this? So I said, hey, just reword this for me. Reword it. You know, instead of potato, say potato once in a while. Just okay. I've reworded it from potato to potato. All right, good. So now on my Word document, let me open up a new Word document. I'm going to do this on the far right monitor that you can't see. Right, now you can see it. So we take the first one and we go, okay, let's put this in Word. Copy. Here's the word. Control V. All right, so it says it once. Now remember, I might be taping this, so I'm going to say, okay, and go, and here is the lesson again. Reworded. Oh, you know what I could put in here? I could put in ellipses. Right, so it pauses. Now let's grab the reversed version. I'm going to hide the word so you can't see it. Can't see it now. All right, and here's the revised version. Remember, I've still got that Word document on my right. Copy that. See, it's right here. It's right here. You were worried. Now I've got two copies of pretty much the same thing. But I have taught. I've taught for many, many, many years. And I'm like, hey, here's the pauses. Let's make this a memorable story, right? If you've ever studied how to memorize things, it's like turn it into a weird story with, you know, dancing bears and unicycles and elephants, right? You can use that for memorizing a speech, right? You take the bullet points of the speech and you turn it into a story, you know, with circus clowns and pizza and stuff like that. And then you know what you need to talk about because it's memorable. It shocks you. You know, anything that shocks us, that's out of the ordinary, we're like, hey, this could be dangerous. You know, I should pay attention to this. This might be important. All right, so look, I got the repetition. We're doing okay with that. But we haven't done an interesting story. Let's make it an interesting story. Oh, look at this. Once upon a time, you go ChatGPT, there was a company struggling with high employee turnover. Now, we didn't have that before. Before it was generic. Figure out the problem and solve the problem. Now, the problem is high employee turnover, and they want to improve employee retention. All right, that's better. That's better. Now, I can go ahead and save this on my Word document. Let's see. I decided to put in names because humans pay attention to faces and names. I'm like, hey, maybe this will grab my attention if we personalize it and turn it into a story. Look, they gave it a struggling company called Bright Ideas. ChatGPT said a struggling company called Bright Ideas. CEO is Michael, COO is Sarah, right? You got your data analysts, Anna and David. All right. So it's been personalized a little bit, but I get stuck because Michael and Sarah, who else? Anna and David. I'm like, who's who? So I just figured I'd ask ChatGPT, hey, modify the last response by throwing in those job titles more than once. And I tried that, and it didn't do that. It didn't work for me. Yeah. And at that point, I said, you know what? I've read the story enough times, I can remember that it's, and by the way, they change, it randomly changes it. But anyway, if this is actually my final draft, Michael and Sarah, they kept that. I think they changed the names of the analysts to, Anna Chen and David Kim, right? Okay, let's move on. I said, all right, let's give up on adding the titles. I could figure it out if I wanted to. I just don't want to. So there was a healthcare company. So I turned it into a healthcare company. So now we have a specific industry. And I didn't do this. It decided to keep going with high turnover rates. Oh, it already had that from before. It picked that from before. And data analyst, 6 phases, success. They discovered that nurses and other healthcare professionals were leaving because of a lack of opportunities for professional development. Now, ChatGPT put that in there. They said, okay, we're talking healthcare. Let's use the title nurses and healthcare professionals, and let's kind of make it industry specific. So that's looking pretty good, right? And I said, okay, what else can I do with ChatGPT to memorize the 6 steps of data analysis so I can remember this and burn it in and pass it on an exam when I go for my cert. All right, I said, let's change it into a web design company called, and I gave it a name, WebWorks for You. And I gave it the problem. I said, hey, we want to use our data to find out which size of company clients, size of company clients. All right, so size of company is going to be small, medium, or large, right? I don't think I told it that, it figured it. Actually, I did. I threw in small, medium, and large, right? And client is who they're doing business with. So are they making more profit off of small companies designing their web pages? Are they making more profit off of medium companies from designing their web pages, right? So we use that for an example. And they found out I still don't memorize this, I still have the 6 stages. So how to, all right, they've cleaned it. And when they did the analyze stage, they discovered that medium-sized companies spent the most on average. So during the analyze stage, they found that out. So then they have to share their findings, right? Wasn't that one of the 6? They share their findings, right? So they said, hey, we've figured out from the data, medium-sized companies are paying us more overall. So now put ChatGPT. When I say it, I'm talking ChatGPT. Focused on developing more customized services for medium-sized companies and building stronger relationships with them. Then they implemented new marketing strategies to attract more medium-sized companies to WebWorks for You. As a result, profitability increased. They're able to expand their business, and all political parties then lived in peace. All right, they learn by breaking big problems down into smaller tasks, 6 phases. I think it's probably dropped the 6 phases by now. So I can decide, let's grab a clean copy of Word. I could maybe start off with the 6 phases, right? Some sort of thing that talks about the 6 phases. Matter of fact, I can grab this from my variation, copy. So we've got a generic. In this lesson, you learned the 6 phases, which are ask the questions, prepare, process the data, analyze, share, and then act, right? That's decent. I'll leave that. I can put a little sentence like, hey, let's look at healthcare, right? I could type that in. Let's look at healthcare, pause, but I type slow, so I won't. So let's go up to healthcare. Once upon a time. You know, I may just get rid of the once upon a times. Copy. I may do that. Now don't forget, I've still got that Word document hidden on my 3rd monitor that you can't see. You can't see it. And then we got a web design company. Well, scroll down. We'll do an up. That's how you beat the scroll problem. Ha ha ha. You're beat. Copy. Now you get to see the Word document. So I got a generic 6 steps. Yeah. Then I got a healthcare. I can put a sentence in here so it pauses. And then we did it with a web company. Let's save this Word document. We're going to save it as, how about 6 steps of data analysis with case studies, small case studies. Now we don't want to save it as a docx. No, no, no. We want to save it as a web page. Up. And it went into documents. Always look to see where you saved stuff. It's such a pain in the butt. It's like, where did you hide it? All right, now it's been saved. So, excuse me. Let's open it. Now, for those playing along at home or at the office, if it's at the office, why aren't you working? What are we going to open it with? We're going to open it with Microsoft Edge by using Open With. By the way, I ought to say that always use Edge for HTML, right? If I'm opening an HTML file, for at least for now. There's Edge. Probably save me just a second. All right, we learned about Axioms of data analysts. Okay, and I've opened the wrong one. What did I call this? I called it 6 steps. Let's save it again. All right, let's see if I can find the 6 steps. Okay, this was saved under documents. 6 steps, now it worked. Remember, we have to do open with because it doesn't know to open HTMLs with Edge because this is a new thing for me. Go away. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Read aloud. All right, so remember we got the generic 6 steps, right? The little lesson, little module. And I said, hey, let's create an example with, healthcare using the 6 steps and another example with web doing the 6 steps. And anybody without strong ADHD probably has figured it out at this point, right? They probably have gotten the 6 squirrel. I wish I have squirrels in my backyard. They probably got it by now.
In this lesson, you learned about the 6 phases of the data analysis process: ask, prepare, process, analyze, share, and act. These phases were applied in a case study where data analysts aimed to improve employee retention. They asked questions to define the problem.
Shoot. Okay, so this little video, I'm probably going to throw this on my YouTube channel, has 2 purposes. One is to help other people. I've taught for 40 years. I enjoy helping other people. I got my last 2 jobs. I was taking some courses. I got some veterans assistance, and where I was taking courses, I got hired and I got reported for helping students. They said, "Hey, yeah, this guy Brett, he's offering to help us out on weekends because some of us got stuck. We haven't done this material before. So instead of dropping out, we said, "Hey, man, you volunteered. You said if anybody needs help." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Right? He's helping us on Saturdays, on Sundays. He's a good guy. Just want to throw in a word for him, right? And I got a job at With You With Me, and I got a job at Hyper Learning Technologies. I was a student there, and I wound up helping people, whenever they needed it, including, Monday morning at 2 a.m. if they were in Ireland or some such, remotely. So anyway, I got reported for being a good guy and got hired. Anyway, so this is to help people because I like that. But on the other hand, I'm also going to show this to recruiters, and they go, "All right, let me see your technical certs. All right, now talk to me. What are you good for? What can you actually do?" So I'm going to show them this video and go, "Hey, I can create some material and teach people how to train themselves so that they can get ahead in life and make the world a better place, right? And solve global warming." All right, let's shut this off because I think I've talked too much, and maybe throw this up on YouTube. Okay, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. It's going on my YouTube dance channel, 700 dance videos and about 20 tech videos, right? I don't know that I'd subscribe. Anyway, just help me get a job. Peace.